Hi guys, Scott Woodward with you to preview the South Sydney Rabbitohs 2014, and yet again the Rabbitohs loom as one of the teams to beat in the competition. They've looked the likely winners the last 2 years. Probably 2 years ago they had a legitimate excuse with some key injuries, but last year they went out very meekly when the big games come on. And look, my view on that is that I think South Sydney have become very predictable for opposition coaches. The good news is for coach Michael Maguire is that he has the ideal antidote for that. Luke Keary has been coming off the bench and he's just too good a player. He must start and he must cover that left side and put some confusion in the opposition. As good a player as Sutton is, I think the opposition have been able to read what he was going to do, and they were able to shut down a lot of the key moves. And South Sydney became very predictable. And when you've got a list of the quality that they've got, I think the supporters have wanted more from them, despite the fact that they finished second in the home and away competition last year. You might think that they did very well, but the South Sydney supporters, they want a premiership. And they have got the list to get a premiership, led by one of the greatest players of all time in Greg Inglis. Let's talk about some of the ways that they can win the premiership in 2014. Certainly, John Sutton has to move into the forwards. And while he'll be nominated, I would expect, as a lock forward, I think he'll play that running style on the left-hand side on the edge. I think he'll be an edge runner on the left, although he can certainly run on both sides of the field. But my view is that's what he will do. Now, what does that do with Sam Burgess? Sam Burgess is arguably one of the best forwards in the world, probably the number 2 forward behind Sonny Bill Williams. And while I think his best position is lock forward, South Sydney Rabbitohs are a little bit light on for big class props, and I think he's going to have to be sacrificed, and I think he's going to have to start up front. I don't think they've got a choice there with Sutton having to come into the forward pack, and Sutton was last year's skipper, so you can't really play him off the bench, although I think he's a perfect bench guy, and I think he'd be a perfect bench guy in the State of Origin. But if Sutton is going to start, he'll have to start in the forwards as far as I'm concerned. I hope they don't start him at 5'8" and then move him into the forwards and bring Keary on like they did last year. I'd like to see Keary own that number 6 shirt, and I'd like to see him blossom and be the massively talented young player that we all think he is and has been for quite a few years now. One of the biggest problems for South Sydney, and has been in several years now, is their defence in the centres. They're unfortunate that their best defensive back, Beau Champion, was injured last year, and they get back a fit Beau Champion. So he, if you like, he's a big in for the Rabbitohs this year, and he'll certainly make sure that that right side is rock solid in defence. He reads play very well, and he's a good talker, and there's some young guys there, particularly Dylan Walker, and I think he'll benefit by playing alongside of Beau Champion. Dylan Walker, of course, can play in the centres, and whether or not he's going to be considered for Bryson Goodwin's position, I don't know. Look, Bryson is terrific in attack, but he just showed yet again in the semi-finals that he has no idea in defence, and they pressure him. And when they're coming at him and they're running at him, and he doesn't know whether it's going to go right or left, he just doesn't know what to do, and he just keeps making the wrong decision. Some of his missed tackles in the big games last year were just a disgrace, and he was one of the reasons why South Sydney went out so easily in 2013. So I don't know what the coach is going to do there with Bryson, whether or not he wants to move him onto the wing. I don't know. That would mean that what he do with Nathan Merrit and what he do with Lote Tuqri. I know Lote Tuqri's got a bit of age on him, and he moves like the Queen Mary when they kick the ball behind him, but he is a class act. My mail is that he's been training the place down, and the side love having him on the field. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some game time, Lote Tuqri. I was surprised that they signed him on, but it may very well turn out to be a good move. So a backline is looking like Greg Inglis, Dylan Walker, Beau Champion, probably Bryson Goodwin, and Nathan Merrit. The coach needs to decide what sort of configuration he wants there. He does have some options, and he does have a little bit of depth, but his biggest problem is defence, and particularly he has to get that left side right. We've talked about the right side being much stronger now with Beau Champion, and he'll certainly make Adam Reynolds a lot more secure as Adam plays on that side as well. So, look, I think there's an improvement in the back line, and so we've talked about 1 to 5. getting the 6 right is going to be crucial. So for Luke Keary to start and him to have a good season like I think he will, that's going to be the decision on how South Sydney go for the year. So let's talk about some of the forwards. Outside of Sam, the next best forward in the South Sydney pack is his brother George Burgess, and many consider him one of the best prop forwards in the world. And I think in attack he is certainly that. But he has shown time and time again, and he's shown it yet again in the World Cup. One of the reasons why England went out was because his technique is not good in defence. He really doesn't have any idea how to defend. And so we will assume that the coaching team have picked that up and they've done some work on his defence. So as good as what he is coming off the bench, and even if they start with him, he's an outstanding guy with the ball in his hand. But there's two sides to being a forward, and defence is probably more important, and they need to get that right. They can't afford to have their big guys falling off easy tackles like Big George did. So I think that's a big issue for the South Sydney side. I've talked about Sam. I think he has to start in the front row, only because of the configuration of the team. It's not his best position, but he's such a great player, and I have to say he's probably the best forward I've ever seen play for England. If he has to play in the interest of the team, I think he has to be one of the props. Who his partner's going to be, I'm not sure. The coach has shown that he likes Dave Tyrrell. Look, I'm not a massive fan of Dave's. I think he also misses a lot of tackles. And the other thing is, I said they're light on for big forwards. We have Sam and George's other brothers, Tom and Luke. Now I have a big question mark over both those guys if they're going to be genuine first grade players. They'll get their chance to either start or come off the bench. I have no doubt about that. They really do need to go to a new level now. There've been some excuses for them in the last 18 months or so, but Tom and Luke need to show that they're going to be a genuine first grade player for this South Sydney side. We know George and Sam are, they're massive ends, but the other two guys, I'm very keen to see what happens for them in this year. I think the fact that their other two brothers are in the side may be a reason why they'll get a lot of passes in their side, but at the end of the day, you have to aim up, especially when you're playing in the forwards. And I've just been a little bit disappointed in them. I was disappointed what I saw in the World Cup. But it's a new season, it's a new off season, and so we'll give them a bit of slack. Tom and Luke looking very closely at how they go. Look, their two main back rowers, Chris McQueen and Ben Lowe, they both went outstanding in the State of Origin last year, and I thought the coach made a big blue by not resting them after the State of Origin. They played long minutes in the State of Origin, and they played long minutes for South Sydney. And to have them just keep playing time in, backing up and playing, it was a massive ask by the coach. And I think that's one of the reasons why South Sydney just hit a brick wall when the big games come. The coach needs to understand the rep games that are on, and he needs to understand that how many rounds there are in the home and away, and try and have his best players cherry ripe for the semi-finals. And that's what he stuffed up big time last year. Now, look, we can expect that both Chris McQueen and Ben Lowe will be selected again for State of Origin, and I'll be interested to see if he gives them a little bit of a rest when they come back. Look, I think he can do that now. Now with John Sutton playing into the forwards, I'm assuming John Sutton is going to play in the forwards. It does give him a little bit of an opportunity, and he has got some other quality guys there that can come in. Ben Lowe is a terrific worker. One of their ins, Joe Picker, is also a very good worker. So they can certainly come in. Jason Clark is injured at the moment. I don't think he'll be ready for round one, but when he is fit, he's also a terrific worker. Kyle Turner, I have a good opinion of, and Chris Grevsmuhl. We didn't see a lot of him up in the Cowboys because of injuries, but he comes down to South Sydney with a good reputation. So they have got some promising kids there, and they've also got some good workhorses there to come in that can take a little bit of a pressure off Lote and McQueen. So I think the management of those players is going to be crucial. I think what they do with Luke Keary is going to be crucial, and I think the way they get their left side configuration right in defence is going to be crucial. The good news is that there's a lot of talent there to work with, and some amazing players. They have two of the best players of all time, not just in the world, of all time, in Greg Inglis and Sam Burgess. So not many teams can say that. And the South Sydney fans are demanding a premiership. I think they're very much entitled to demand that when you look at this amazing list. So good luck. Here it is for South Sydney. I think you'll have a very good season. I think you're certainly one of the big teams to beat in 2014.